What is the cost of lies? It's not that we'll mistake them for the truth. The real danger is that if we hear enough lies, then we no longer recognize the truth at all. What can we do then? What else is left but to abandon even the hope of truth and content ourselves instead with stories?
At this hour, 166 people are still unaccounted for. At least 121 people are now dead. And tonight we have learned about this code red alert that many residents had signed up for, and when it actually came, for many, several hours after the emergency unfolded.
Just identify yourself.
Yes, I'm Bruce Spitzlingle. I'm president of GrantWorks, a consulting firm that has been retained by the county to assist with the ARPA funding.
Good. While you're there, I know you had to do some stuff before the meeting started. With regard to the vaccine mandate, is that something that is going to be applicable to the county employees or any people that we give the money to?
Well, I'll do the short answer right now, and then when we get to the item of there's going to be public comments and the like, I'll go into more detail if that's okay with you, Judge.
Sure it is. I just kind of wanted you to.
Based on our reading and based on opinions that we've seen, this county is not in any manner required to comply with the EO or any other EO in regards to the vaccines.
Just got here early, get a good seat.
Marcia King, native Texan, Kerr resident since 1991. I want to focus on the contract that was signed by the county for the funds under the American Rescue Plan Act last May. It's the devil's in the details. These contracts have never-ending rules, regulations, and obligations that fall on the backs of every legal resident in Kerr County that will affect and indenture all future generations. Most glaring is the compliance with applicable laws. Under 9.A of this, says the recipient agrees to comply with the requirements of Section 603 of the Act, regulations adopted by Treasury pursuant to Section 603F of the Act, and guidance issued by Treasury regarding the foregoing. Recipient also agrees to comply with all other applicable federal statutes, regulations, and executive orders, and recipient shall provide for such compliance by other parties in any agreements it enters in with relating to this award. In a letter from Ken Paxton on October 15, 2021, he wrote, "Separately, Biden recently issued a federal executive order directing federal departments and agencies to begin including a clause in federal contract and contract-like instruments specifying that contractors must comply with workplace safety protocols that would apply to all covered contractor employees, including contractor or subcontractor employees. These protocols will now include a requirement that covered employees receive a COVID-19 vaccination. Thus, Biden's order potentially conditions the continuation of federal funding on your agency's cooperation in compelling your employees to receive a COVID-19 vaccination. Texas Attorney Mallory Miller opined this: built into this plan, for example, is the potential for a federal demand of city governments contracted to these recovery funds which serve their electric and water systems to require all municipal utility customers to be vaccinated in order to continue receiving city utilities that were benefited from the fund awards. This comes from Texas Right to Know. And everyone, please go to the site. Recipients of these funds are under obligation of contract with the U.S. Department of Treasury. In Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution says, no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. By signing this contract, you agree to the terms and conditions by consent of contract to comply with federal executive orders. So Governor Abbott's vaccine mandate will be overridden as his contract supersedes any state laws. Of course, he told out Texas was SB 8 on November 8, 2021. Therefore, these coronavirus funds may very well be a setup for a domestic coup to transfer power from states, cities, businesses, and individuals to become subservient to executive orders by consent of contract. This slides us from socialism, Marxism, and straight into communism, all by design. Accepting and using any of these funds puts us all under the boot of federal tyranny. The deliberate stealing of our sovereignty and freedoms and those of our future generations puts us all in debt to the federal government by this consent obligation contract is not worth the bribe the federal government is offering. Please send it back now, not later, but now. Thank you.
I am not an attorney, but I do have common sense. These so-called funds have so many strings in the 35.9 compliance applicable laws, especially in regards to federal statutes, regulations, and executive orders, that it makes this very dangerous for Kerr County. It also allows the loss of sovereignty and liberties of all legal residents of our country. I cannot trust that everyone who receives these funds will understand, follow, and comply with these rules and laws that are attached to this. It only takes one, only one, and possibly many to be non-compliant and thereby screw the entire county. Excuse my language, but it's true. With the broad language on executive orders from the federal government, should a deviation occur, who pays it back? All of us. Okay? And anyway, we are talking about $10.1 million. We're not talking about $1 million. We're talking about 10.1. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think we have a paycheck in this entire county that could cover that, especially since you say we don't have enough to cover everything under the current budget. I've been a resident here of Kerr County for 30 years, and I'm standing with others here to tell you to send the money back. Leaving it in a bank account, hoping that the Supreme Court rules in a way that will make this more powerful, is crazy. First of all, I'm sorry, but I don't trust the Supreme Court at this point. Accepting the ARPA money, yeah, I'm getting lost now. Accepting the ARPA money and putting our county under existing and future executive orders would federalize us and make us all slaves. I served in the Air Force, and I know all too well the words, we're from the government and we're here to help. Okay? That doesn't always work out. This ARPA money is the most dangerous thing and possibly ever in the history of America and could destroy our beautiful country. Now that the rumors have been dispelled in regards to the existing and future executive orders applied to 35.9 compliance with applicable laws for those who apply for this money is the most important. It is most important that we do not fall into their trap. I want to say that because at one of the past meetings, I read those compliance rules to you all. It doesn't say maybe or if. And I know the government well, I've worked for them. And I'm telling you right now, if it says you will, you will. So anyway, I would like to say that I'm sorry, I only have just a few more seconds if that's okay, because I want to read something that Biden wrote to the American people. This comes from the White House. And I would like to read this since I didn't get to do the rest. But it does say on March 11th, 2021, this is Biden. I signed into law the American Rescue Plan, a law that will help vaccinate America. Okay, and then down below at the bottom, I won't read it all because I know I don't have time. We are the path to the vaccinating of the nation. And if you don't believe they'll do it, if you don't use this money properly, I differ with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and call the next.
I am a woman who is called Sherry Snyder. I reside. I want to thank you for being our public servants. You were elected to serve the people. We do not want more of Biden's mandates attached to keeping Biden's money. If I had stood here 2 years ago and told you that you'd have mandatory lockdowns, multiple violations of our freedoms and constitutional rights, that many small businesses in this town would not survive, I doubt anyone would have believed me. But I am here to put each man on notice. The man called Rob Kelly, the man called Harvey Blue, Don Harris, Beck Gibson, and Jonathan Letts, that if you vote to keep Biden's money, I will hold you personally responsible and personally liable for any and all harm that comes to I, a woman called Sherry Snyder, and the family of I, as well as the residents of this county. Please know, all of your personal assets will be at risk for the claims I will file if necessary. The harm that could follow by keeping this money could easily accumulate to millions, far more than the interest you are hoping to keep from Biden's $10.1 million. I agree with Richard King, we need a public forum, a town hall meeting held at a large facility like the Ag Barn, held after 5 p.m. like he suggested for the working men and women. This potential claim has no time limits, and as a man or woman, you do not have to hold any current office or title to be personally liable. In closing, I will not hold you liable if you vote to send Biden's money, ARPA, back.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder.
Hello again, Commissioners, Judge, thank you for hearing me today. Everybody that's spoken today has talked about the contract and how it could turn into something really bad for the citizens of Kerr County. I'm not going to drive that point in the ground anymore. I think y'all got the point on that. But I'm here to tell you that myself, personally, will not be mandated by anybody out of Washington. I'm a Texan. I want you all to make the right decisions here. That's why we put you here. If something comes down from Washington, guys, man, you live in the county too. These people know where you live. Man, look what happened to Stalin. It's not a threat, Sheriff. That's not a threat. That's a warning. That's a warning. Because we are Texans. We fought a revolution to get away from an oppressive government. And we will not have it. We will not have it. Reagan said there's nothing more true to eternal life than a government program. Thomas Jefferson said if you can save the government from stealing the man's labor, you will have liberty. Benjamin Franklin said himself that if you want security, or if you give up your security and your liberty, or if you give up your liberty for security, you will end up with neither. That's the way it is. I've been in this county all my life. I love this county. We got your back, Sheriff. If the Sheriff's Department needs anything, these citizens are going to step up. I guarantee you, we got your back, Sheriff. Been doing an excellent job for us in this county. I think that's about all I got to say. Y'all are probably tired of hearing from me, but I appreciate what y'all have done for us and what you're going to do for us, because I have faith in you guys to make the right decisions. I really do. Thank God.